You think you need a fat bank account to feel like royalty? Honey, I am about to shatter that sad little delusion of yours. I am Duchess Dollars, and trust me, I have mastered both having money and feeling like I have money. They are two different skills, and today I am going to teach you the second one, because the first one, well, that is going to take longer. Do not worry though. I still plan to help you get actually rich in future videos. After all, feeling rich is just step one. But let me tell you something that might shock you. Some of the wealthiest people I know still feel poor on the inside. They have the Bentley, but look at it like it is a Honda Civic. Meanwhile, I have seen women walk into a room with nothing but confidence and suddenly everyone thinks they own the place. Listen, when I met Mr. Millionaire, he did not fall for me just because I was pretty. Though let us be honest, this face that looks 20 at 35 certainly did not hurt. No, he fell for me because I carried myself like I already belonged. In his world, I did not act desperate. I did not act impressed. I acted like his wealth was the minimum requirement for my attention. And guess what? It worked. The truth is, wealth is as much about perception as it is about your bank statement. And today, I am going to show you how to create that perception for yourself first. Because if you do not believe you deserve wealth, why would anyone else invest in you? You see, most women make this critical mistake. They wait to feel rich until they actually are rich. But that is backwards, darling. The universe does not give you what you want. It gives you what you are. So you need to become the rich woman in your mind before you become one in reality. Now, do not get me wrong. I am not saying you should max out your credit cards buying fake designer bags. Please, there is nothing more tragic than pretending to be rich while drowning in debt. That is not what we do here. We are about actual wealth creation, not just the appearance of it. What I am talking about is the rich mindset, the confidence, the standards, the way you move through the world that makes people wonder, who is she? You know what the biggest difference is between rich people and poor people? Rich people make decisions from abundance. Poor people make decisions from scarcity. And you can start making abundance decisions today without spending a single dollar. Let me tell you a little secret. Before I met Mr. Millionaire, I was not exactly swimming in cash. But I never, ever positioned myself as the poor girl desperate for a chance. I positioned myself as the prize that he needed to win. And darling, that made all the difference. So here are my 7 Duchess-approved ways to feel rich even when your bank account is telling a different story. First, upgrade your language. Rich people do not say, I cannot afford that. They say, that is not a priority for me right now. Or, I am investing my resources elsewhere. See the difference? One sounds broke, the other sounds like a choice. Start making choices instead of admitting limitations. I remember watching this fascinating documentary about the psychology of wealth, where they found that wealthy individuals consistently used language that emphasized agency and choice rather than victimhood. The researchers concluded that this language pattern actually helped create wealth-building behaviors. Fascinating, right? When my friend asked me last week if I wanted to join her new expensive mastermind program, I did not say, I cannot afford that right now. Instead, I said, I am currently allocating my resources toward my investment portfolio this quarter. Same outcome, completely different energy. One positions me as broke, the other positions me as strategic. Second, curate your environment. You do not need a mansion to create a space that feels luxurious. One beautiful vase, one quality candle, one corner of your home that looks editorial. That is enough to start. Declutter everything else. Rich people value space more than stuff. Marie Kondo became a multimillionaire by teaching people to own less. Think about that. Now here is something they will not tell you. Rich people are obsessed with keeping things clean and organized. A 2018 study published in the Journal of Consumer Psychology actually found that people who maintain orderly spaces feel more in control of their lives and make better financial decisions. So start treating your studio apartment like it is a suite at the Ritz-Carlton. I have a friend who lives in a tiny New York apartment, but she keeps fresh flowers on her table, uses real linen napkins, and has one gorgeous vintage mirror that makes the space feel twice as big. When you walk in, you do not think small apartment, you think curated space. That is the difference between a poor mindset and a rich mindset. Third, be selective with your time like you would be if you were wealthy. Poor people say yes to everything because they are afraid opportunities will not come again. Rich people say no to almost everything because they value their time more than money. Start saying no to energy-draining activities and people. Your time is your most valuable asset until you have actual assets. I cannot tell you how many gatherings and events I skip because they are not worth my precious time. And do you know what? People respect you more when you are not always available. It is basic economics. Scarcity creates value. Let me give you an example. My neighbor invited me to a potluck dinner last month. Now, in my poor days, I would have said yes immediately, thinking, free food. But now, I looked at my calendar and thought, is this the best use of my Thursday evening? Will these people add value to my life? Will this advance my goals? The answer was no, so I declined politely. That evening, I used that time to research investment opportunities instead. That is rich thinking. Fourth, invest in one quality item rather than 10 cheap ones. Rich people buy less but better. I would rather see you in one perfectly tailored blazer from a consignment shop than 10 ill-fitting fast fashion pieces. Quality over quantity is not just a saying, it is a wealth strategy. There was this fascinating study in 2019 that showed luxury consumers actually save money long-term because they buy fewer, better items that last longer. The researchers called it investment purchasing. I call it common sense. I remember in my pre-Duchess days, I would go to the mall and buy 5 cheap bags that would fall apart within months. Now I save for one quality piece that lasts for years. The total cost is actually the same, but the difference in how I feel when I carry that bag is immeasurable. And here is the secret. Quality items hold their value. Those cheap bags went in the trash. A quality bag can be resold if I ever want to upgrade. Fifth, develop a taste for luxury experiences without the luxury price tag. Did you know that you can sit in the lobby of a 5-star hotel, order one coffee, and work there all day? You can walk into high-end stores and try on clothes with zero obligation to buy. You can tour luxury real estate open houses on weekends. These experiences cost nothing but give you a taste of the lifestyle you are manifesting. I used to spend Sunday afternoons touring multi-million-dollar properties in Beverly Hills. The realtors never questioned me because I dressed well and carried myself with confidence. I learned so much about luxury finishes, architecture, and design just by observation. Now I apply those lessons to my own space, even though it is much more modest. But visitors always comment on how expensive my home looks, because I trained my eye by studying the best. Sixth, adopt rich people habits that cost nothing. Wake up early, read books instead of scrolling social media, exercise consistently, drink water, set goals and track them. Rich people have these disciplined routines not because they have money, but because these habits help create success. You know, Warren Buffett once said he reads 500 pages every day. 500! He said knowledge builds up like compound interest. And that man knows a thing or two about compound interest. You can start that habit today without spending a dime. Public libraries are free, darling. Did you know that according to a study by Thomas Corley, who spent 5 years researching the daily habits of self-made millionaires, 88% read at least 30 minutes per day? And these people are not reading romance novels. They are reading nonfiction books on personal development, biographies, history, and business. Start building your millionaire mind today with books that expand your thinking. Seventh, care for what you already own as if it were priceless. Rich people understand the value of maintenance. They service their vehicles regularly. They clean and protect their leather goods. They repair rather than replace. This not only makes what you have last longer, but trains you to value quality over disposability. I have a pair of leather boots that I have had resoled 3 times. They cost me $200 initially, but I have worn them for 6 years. Meanwhile, I have friends who buy $50 boots every winter and then throw them away in spring. Do the math. They have spent $300 on disposable footwear, while I still have my beautiful boots that look better with age. Now, let me tell you something that might shock you coming from me. The feeling of abundance has very little to do with what you own, and everything to do with your relationship to what you have. Some of the most miserable people I know have everything. Money can buy but still feel lacking. I was at this charity gala last month. Yes, rich people love a good tax write-off. And I overheard this conversation between 2 hedge fund wives comparing their summer homes. One was genuinely distressed that her Hamptons house only had 6 bedrooms while her friend had 8. Meanwhile, most Americans would consider either home an absolute dream. That is the scarcity mindset at work even among the wealthy. The truth is, feeling rich is about gratitude for what you have while still being ambitious for more. It is tricky to balance, but that sweet spot is where true wealth consciousness lives. Here is a little exercise I do every morning. I list 5 luxuries I already have in my life. Sometimes they are material things, like my Chanel puppy or my walk-in closet. But other times they are things money cannot buy. The freedom to set my own schedule, the ability to say no to things I do not want to do, or even just having time to enjoy my morning coffee in peace. Try it. I guarantee you have at least 5 luxuries in your life right now that someone else would consider the height of wealth. Perspective is everything, darling. And here is another mindset shift that wealthy people practice. They see money as a renewable resource, not a finite one. Poor people clutch their dollars tightly because they fear they will never get more. Rich people understand that money flows, it comes and goes. This allows them to spend on quality when appropriate without anxiety. Did you know that researchers at Harvard Business School found that wealthy individuals actually experience less stress when spending money than those with less means, even when the purchase represents the same percentage of their income? That is because they have trained themselves to see money as a tool, not as security. Now, I want to be very clear about something. Feeling rich is not the same as financial literacy. You still need to learn about investing, saving, and wealth building. All the mindset work in the world will not help if you do not understand how money actually works. That is why I am not just about the glamour on this channel. Yes, marrying rich is a fantastic shortcut. I am not going to pretend it is not. But even if you catch yourself a Mr. Millionaire tomorrow, you still need to know how to maintain and grow that wealth. Otherwise, you are just one divorce away from being back where you started. So yes, feel rich now. Act wealthy now. Carry yourself with the confidence of a woman who has her financial house in order, but also do the work to actually get there. Read books on financial independence. Learn about investing. Start a side hustle. Build something of your own. Because let me tell you something else. Having your own money hits different. There is nothing more powerful than knowing you chose to be with your rich husband because you wanted to, not because you needed to. That is the difference between a gold digger and a power couple. I remember when I made my first $100,000 from my own business. Yes, before I was Duchess Dollars, I had my own little empire brewing. Mr. Millionaire was so proud, not because of the amount, please, he spends that on a weekend in Aspen, but because he saw the fire in my eyes, the independence, the drive. Let me tell you, nothing is sexier to a successful man than a woman who does not need him financially. I had this friend, let us call her Broke Betty, who was constantly hunting for a rich husband. She spent all her money on looking the part, maxing out credit cards for designer clothes and expensive beauty treatments. But she never invested in her mind or skills. When she finally landed her doctor husband, she had nothing to talk about at dinner parties. 2 years later, he traded her in for his intelligent nurse who could actually hold a conversation. The moral of the story? Always. Develop your mind as much as your appearance. And here is a little inside information. Truly, wealthy men can spot a fake from a mile away. They did not get rich by being stupid. The women who successfully marry up are not just pretty faces. They add value beyond their looks. They are well-read, well-traveled, even if on a budget, and bring something unique to the table. Start cultivating those qualities now, regardless of your bank account. Did you know that a recent survey of male multimillionaires revealed that intelligence and independence ranked higher than physical beauty when choosing a long-term partner? Yes, looking good gets you in the door, but substance keeps you in the room. So here is your homework, darling. This week, I want you to identify one wealthy habit you can adopt that costs absolutely nothing. Maybe it is making your bed like you have a housekeeper. Maybe it is drinking your coffee from your one nice mug instead of a plastic cup. Maybe it is walking into rooms with your shoulders back and your chin up like you own the place. Whatever it is, commit to it for 7 days and watch how it changes not just how others see you, but how you see yourself. Because wealth starts in the mind long before it hits your bank account. And here is a second assignment. Start noticing what triggers feelings of scarcity for you. Is it scrolling through Instagram and seeing vacations you cannot afford? Is it walking past stores with items you cannot buy? Identify these triggers and then create a wealth affirmation to counter each one. When you see that luxury vacation, post instead of thinking, I could never afford that. Try, I am building wealth to enjoy experiences like that soon. And remember this, every billionaire started somewhere. Jeff Bezos worked out of his garage. Sarah Blakely sold fax machines door to door before she invented Spanx. The difference between them and everyone else was not just hard work, but the absolute conviction that they deserved success. Did you know that Sophia Amoruso, the founder of Nasty Gal, started by selling vintage clothes on eBay while working as a security guard checking IDs? She went from dumpster diving for food to building a $100 million fashion empire. The common thread among self-made millionaires is not that they started with advantages, but that they refused to see themselves as disadvantaged. So, start believing you deserve wealth now. Not when you get the promotion. Not when you find the rich husband. Not when you finally catch a break. Now. Because if there is one thing I know for sure, it is that the universe is not going to give you what you want until you truly believe you deserve it. And darling, you deserve everything. I would not waste my precious time on you if you did not. Last week, I was in Saks Fifth Avenue buying a new pair of sunglasses, and the woman next to me was agonizing over whether to purchase a similar pair. I overheard her say to her friend, "I should not spend this much on sunglasses." Do you know what I wanted to tell her? Stop shooting on yourself. If you want the sunglasses, make a decision. Either say, "These sunglasses are worth the investment to me," or "These sunglasses are not my priority right now." But the wishy-washy poor mentality of "I should not" is exactly what keeps you feeling broke and undeserving. If you want more tips on how to think, act, and eventually become truly wealthy, hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications. Each week, I am dropping these wealth bombs that my rich friends would charge you thousands of dollars to learn in their mastermind groups. And leave a like on this video if you want to be rich. It tells the algorithm to show my content to more women who deserve to upgrade their lives. I have left links to some of my favorite luxury-inspired products in my pinned comment below. These are things that make me feel like the Duchess I am, even on days when I am just lounging at home. Let me leave you with one final thought. In the Bible, there is this powerful verse that says, "For whoever has will be given more, and they will have an abundance." Now, I am not saying you need to get religious, but there is wisdom here. The universe rewards those who operate from a mindset of having, not wanting. So start acting like you already have abundance, and watch how quickly abundance starts showing up in your life. Remember this: feel rich. Be rich. The second follows the first. Drop rich mindset in the comments if this video resonated with you. Until next time, this is Duchess Dollars reminding you that poverty is a state of mind. And darling, that state is not where we reside.